What's up, everybody, and welcome back to another smoking episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Today we're going to witness Mr. Gardenhire get sentenced for the killing of his girlfriend's daughter, plus a bunch of other sick and twisted stuff. He went on a rampage of crimes right before he got hemmed up, so I'll leave this article pinned in the comment section for y'all to go ahead and dig into, but this is the courtroom side of things. First, we're going to start off with the preliminaries. He definitely disrespects the courtroom in a different kind of way. Anything before trial or sentencing to me is preliminary. And then we will see him get sentenced for the crimes that he has committed.
Count 1, homicide, open murder, statutory short form. Count 2, criminal sexual conduct, first degree, weapon use, taken upon arrest. A consecutive sentence may be imposed under statute if the assault is place of confinement. Count 6 is unlawful imprisonment.
Mr. Sleepy don't give two fucks, huh?
DNA to be taken upon arrest. The court may impose a consecutive sentence under statute.
Not another one.
And it is also a tier 3.
Damn, healthy jank. The life sentence yawn. Homeboy here can't believe what's going on. Miss Noggle don't give two shits.
Looking at Mr. Gardenhire's criminal history is pretty significant. His criminal history consists of violent offenses, weapons offenses, failures to appear in court. In this case, due to the fact that Mr. Gardenhire is both charged with murder and the fact that he was on bond at the time the allegations occurred.
Charge her with murder because she's the one who did it.
So like I said, he's charged with the murder of his girlfriend's daughter, and I'm guessing he's saying you should charge the girlfriend instead, not me.
Charge her with murder because she's the one who did it.
Isaiah.
Yikes.
Everything else, no.
All right, Mr. Gardenhire, this is your warning. The court will mute your microphone if you speak out of turn again.
We would request that Mr. Gardenhire be held without bond, or in the alternative, that bond be set as $2 million cash surety.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Damn,
Barber.
birdie jank.
Mr. Gardenhire, I'm going to ask that you behave in a messy
Miss
behave
Noggle
in
don't
a
like
manner
that.
that's appropriate for a court proceeding, particularly given the fact that right now I'm considering whether or not to allow your release on bond. If I have any more acting out, sir, we're going to turn off your audio and your video.
Damn, he's hitting her with the bird jank numerous times. Very shameful thing he's doing, and look, the attorney agrees. He's ashamed as well, asked to have his face blurred.
All right, the court has considered the factors found in MCR 6.10.
Oh, now there's a half blur. It must be some kind of like standard blur there or something. I don't know.
6 and finds that bond in the amount of $3 million, cash or surety, is appropriate.
Ooh,
All right, go ahead and turn this video off, please.
All right, let's jump right into the sentence. And ladies and gentlemen, he was found guilty on quite a bit.
Mr. Gardenhire, is there anything you'd like to say to the court?
I give my condolences to the family. Everything that had happened was wrong, and I regret it. I wish I could turn back the hands of time, but I can't. Adria was a good child. She was a good girl. She didn't deserve what happened to her. Neither did my other victims. They have every right to be mad. And I don't expect forgiveness. I wouldn't forgive myself. Just impose what you think is right. I accept all consequences of my actions.
What y'all think about that speech? Was it sincere? It sounds to me like he's already got in his head that he's gonna have life. He could be facing the death penalty. I'm not sure, man. I lose track with all the states and courtrooms we jump around in. But Michigan, I think if I were to guess, they do. And not to mention, a lot of states, even the ones that do, I mean, it's like they rarely use it now because of so much stuff that's going on with paperwork. And I did a video on this, but I'm not going to lie. I've never seen any kind of Zoom meeting since, and with the guy like behind bars like this. Kind of feels like it's a movie or something.
Imaginable pain, suffering, sorrow, and guilt since my daughter Adria's death. What makes this even more horrific is that Isaiah had a bond with all of my children. Making TikToks or having prank wars, every holiday, birthday, vacation, long summer days spent at Checkpoint, making memories in the sun was our favorite thing to do as a family. Isaiah killed all my daughters that night because they will never be the same.
This is the worst case that I've seen while I've been here in Isabella County. The loss of a young child and the terror inflicted on the other victims in this case is just horrible. As Adri's mom talked to me just moments ago, I could feel your pain. I wish there was something I could say to lessen it, but we all know that the pain is so deep that mere words aren't going to lessen it. Hopefully in time, the pain will be less intense.
Can you imagine getting smoked from here to Kingdom Come and taking 3 steps right back to your cell? But the light's still on and everything waiting for him. I can almost guarantee that's the cell he came out of. This is a wild one. If I were to guess, man, just strictly based upon this camera angles, he's gonna get mega smoked. Because you know, most people go into the courtroom for their sentencing.
Hopefully in time, the healing process will happen. The defendant comes before the court with a bad juvenile record and also a long record of adult convictions.
Lifelong.
At the present time, the defendant has pending murder charges down in Ingham County. Just days before the murder and the unlawful imprisonment of the victims in this case, the defendant bonded out of jail in another county. The conduct in this case, the only way you can actually characterize it, it was flat out evil. The defendant deserves no consideration from the court.
Damn.
He needs to spend the rest of his life behind bars. When we talked about the guidelines, one of the options is life in prison. That's not an appropriate sanction in this case because in Michigan, if you're convicted of second-degree murder, you're eligible for parole.
He must have not knew anything about this sentencing, man, because he started pacing as soon as the courtroom said they're not going to have any kind of consideration towards him. And just based upon his reaction, it looks like he was hoping for something else.
He needs to spend the rest of his life behind bars. When we talk about
see, he ain't got time for that now.
Guidelines, one of the options is life in prison. That's not an appropriate sanction in this case because in Michigan, if you're convicted of second-degree murder, you're eligible for parole after a period of time, after 15 years. And if you're denied parole after a certain number of years, you can come back. And there's no point in putting the victims of this case through that worry of worrying whether or not the department is going to grant parole to the defendant. Now, for the charge of second-degree murder, habitual fourth, I'm going to set your minimum term at 75 years.
Oh.
Since this is a life offense, the 2/3 rule is, I don't believe it's applicable under case law, but I'm going to follow it anyways. So your maximum is going to be 120 years.
Damn.
Credit for 154 days. For the charge of felonious assault, habitual fourth, minimum 10 years, maximum 15 years, credit for 154 days. That's the most I can give you for that particular offense. For the charge of unlawful imprisonment, habitual fourth, minimum sentence 75 years, maximum 120 years, credit for 154 days.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, was that not smoky enough for y'all?